I'm going to start with a short piece that I've never read aloud before because this seems like the sort of safe place where I can do that. Before lockdown, I spent a lot of time in the gym. I started to really get into it, but then I noticed things about the gym, about the dynamics. Plain girls in the gym sweat. Plain girls in the gym sweat, sweat, drip with it, visibly running down their backs, their knees between their breasts. Plain girls in the gym wear cotton, are not wearing moisture-wicking materials or scientifically designed aerodynamic athleisure wear. They resurrect old t-shirts with worn patches and underarm discoloration. Italian 90 they wear. I walk 10K for cancer research they wear. St. John ambulance volunteer. Tie-dye handprints dipped in school on a rainy day off the cuff arts and crafts session. Plimsolls are worn by plain girls in the gym. Guddies, words for shoes we have forgotten. Plain girls in the gym want you to leave them alone. Obey the urinal rule of always leave a space between. They do not want your bulk muscled up, grunting, grinning within touching distance. They are used to being invisible and feel so loud, panting, wheezing, sweating, smelling, wearing their shame. This next one, I'm going to give a content warning for. It's quite long, so I haven't been able to do it much, but because I've got the extra time tonight, I'm taking advantage of doing it as much as I can at the moment because it's about lockdown. And it was written in the first few weeks of lockdown when some of us were terrified and some of us were more terrified than others. And I have OCD and have family members also with OCD. So this focuses on aspects of cyclical OCD thinking and suicidal thoughts. Mother hurts herself. Washing her hands too much, far, far too much, they crack. I utilize driveways on my walks. We see each other approach at a distance, we stiffen. If we can take it wide, we do large circles around each other, walk on an increasingly quiet road. Sometimes one crosses to avoid me and I sing their praises. Some will blunder ever closer, and this is not a game of chicken. I do not want to win it. I lurk in driveways. If they want the right of way so badly, this diseased shining path, they are welcome to it. In March, the nightmares began, nightmares of the plague days. You are walking alone along a deserted street. Streets should be deserted. This is welcome. A group of teenagers appear and you try not to think of them as wild teenagers, unwelcome teenagers, feral. You walk closer and one coughs. He has a cough. You cannot veer away because this is a dream and your options are limited. You fear turning back in case you attract their attention. As you are abreast with them, head down, following all the rules, he draws back and spits in your face. For 48 hours after the dream, you stay indoors, too frightened to venture out. The suicides will fall into 3 categories. Did you hear that a woman in a supermarket started biting people in the queue? A man paid for groceries with many coins, but before handing them the cashier, he placed each one inside his mouth and then gifted it, spittle shining to her, to capitalism. Security removed him because even capitalism has limits, does it? But that image will stay with her for the rest of her life. Coin metal mouthed man, pennies for teeth, grinning at her and asking her to accept his moist generosity. The first category of suicides will be the scared. 5 days ago, Mavis cleared her throat and you haven't felt right since. There is a burning in your throat, your chest. It could be angina. A man walked so close to you, you said, please move away. He did not move away. You cannot stand this death watch. Death rates. Every time you receive an online notification, it is death rates. You snap elastic bands on your wrists repeatedly. They leave marks. It is not enough. I find myself in the graveyard, needing quiet company, needing the quietest of companions. From my high vantage point, I can see all around. No one can sneak up on me. A man wheels a pram up and down the hills. It is not a relaxing day out with child. He is pushing for something. He leans into the incline, head down, arms out straight in front of him, pram as battering ram, pram as cardio aid, baby as excuse to work out this stifling indoor rage. The second category will be the lonely. Lonely does not mean what you think it means. Hundreds, thousands of people at the touch of a key, but are any of them speaking to you directly? Do they revolve around you? Did you know not everyone has internet access? You start to have trouble sleeping. The words you are not using bubble up inside you. You gasp for breath. This house air is not fresh air. You smell your own sweat. Legs are restless and jiggling. Where is the line between stimulated and overstimulated? Your eyes are open. Your mind is flayed open. No one to sing it soothed and closed. There are more living, walking people here, all blessedly far apart. A small family reads inscriptions on gravestones. A couple walk hand in hand at the northeast end. I walk the smaller paths, and in this dead end of places, some of these paths are dead ends. I pick my way between the stones respectfully. I will always walk this land respectfully, greeting those who lie underneath with a whispered song. I spent my time with the Orrs, the McMasters, the Campbells, and thoughts drift to Ian. When we were 12 years old, in school, we read of Ian. We dipped letters written in our best calligraphy in tea and toasted them to make them look old with an E. We read aloud in class, and this was, we all agreed, the dullest book we had ever experienced, a dry cough of a book until I took it home and it lived. The characters lived until they died. In this village, this Ian place, when the plague came, they made the only choice, the corona choice, the modern choice, the choice even then in 1666, a pact to not leave those village boundaries until the fever raged no more. If anyone left, they would carry to others, and the spread could be limitless. So for a year it fed on them, choice cuts on a market stall, discarding some and gorging on others with seeming randomness until the filth was buried. Goiters subsided, boils lanced, fevers broken, whole families no more than carvings on stone. Today I thought of Ian. The third category will be the NHS. Have you seen them crying on the news broadcasts? Have you clapped uselessly for them? They intubate the foaming mouths and struggling lungs close enough to bathe in the carbon dioxide you expel. The ladies of the Women's Institute gamely swap their knitting patterns for the sewing of masks, humming Jerusalem all the while. They will not sew enough. Could not possibly sew enough for all the doctors in this green and pleasant land, their feet in present time aching and raw from 14-hour shifts. They will not cease from mental fight until they do, nor shall their gloves slip from their hand. That is the last pair. I do not mention the nurses, for they have not been counted, and if they choose to leave on their own terms, they will not be counted among official statistics. Did you perhaps wait 2 weeks for your last GP appointment in 2019? You will wait longer after their numbers have been decimated. Sister tells us of conspiracy theories. We place hands or ears. To escape, we must walk. We must go to still places and breathe deeply. A half-remembered jaunt from 25 years ago, a duck pond that I never found again, and I will find it. This time, I do not, but I find a magic place. Gate nothing more than a space between posts, and I step over. Grass is long and silent, this place is thin, and as I breathe the thin air, I take note of the wildlife. Mr. Squirrel, pay no mind to me, I am just a sweaty human Mr. Squirrel, you don't want me. I walk deeper through what I see now as a meadow. Teens have had a bonfire here, perhaps many fires. These teens, being real, causing fires, should also cause fear, but there is no fear in this thin place. A discarded bottle cap shines up at me and screams, Corona Extra. Isn't it just, I say. Bottle cap, you're so right. I hear humans now. The bounce of a ball, but they are far away. Sound carries in these thin places. They are across the river, and I can stand still, actually stand still, fearing no trespassers, and stare into the moving water, this offshoot of the River Lagan. It has been a month since I have seen you. We have never before been separated for such a duration. Lagan, I will not leave it so long again. Today I thought of Ian, but even Ian's siege ended. Have people before emerged from waters shining? The hands submerged endlessly are eventually cleansed and dried, soothed with hand cream and treated like princesses. A baptism of sorts. My eyes gleam. In years to come, I'll celebrate tree roots, the comic crush of acorns underfoot, and I slowly walk the path toward home.
Wow. Wow. Bravo, Elizabeth. Bravo. Woo!
Thank you for letting me do that. I know a lot of people find, well, it is sad, but it's also hopeful. I wrote it during a graveyard walk, so I really identified with Leslie's piece about the graveyard lullaby. I'm going to do one more to finish off. It's not about lockdown at all. It's an older piece about the time I used to be a singer in a band and what made me stop that and what made me move towards poetry. And this is my last piece. So thank you so much for Chi and Peter for inviting me to take part.
Thank you.
We are the incredible shrinking women. Faces hidden behind hair, bashfully gazing at our feet in the cracks between the fat cheeks of the men who do not say as much, do as much, who do nothing but drink together, play together, stay together, say together, all their words on bills, on posters, on lineups of the best, the greatest, the let's give him the gig because Johnny's my mate-est. I used to be in the music industry, in a way. In a manner of speaking, peeking my head above the parapet, not quite yet being able to touch success, the other bands being out of hand's reach. Although I could probably touch if I asked nicely. Blowjobs for the boys are always popular. I would have been allowed to be in their crowd, so proud. I never experienced overt sexism, no get your tits out shout. They were blind to me, the cloak of invisibility, their eyes slid off me, the human banana skin in a singer's clothing. I was in a band with a boy, let's call him Simon. Simon said you shouldn't write certain things on the internet. Simon said I should be stoic. Simon said you can help with songwriting, and yet, my head above the parapet, peeking, eyes open, eyes closed, eyes open, eyes closed, glass ceiling, reeling from the impact, skull cracked, neck back, whiplash, crash back down to the floor. You won't peek over anymore, will you? And so you don't. You forget though. And it's been years since I sang, since empty bar rooms rang with my voice, since the testing, 1, 2, 1, 2, and who do you think you are anyway, the grandstand in this man's land. Singers 10 a penny and they snigger, pass a cigarette around and titter. He's the phantom in this opera. You're the angel of music. Take direction, pass inspection, present my careful lyrics for inspection. Edited and edited, but very rarely credited as mine. She sings great, looks great, mate, but can't create, but can't ever create. Simon said he must see if my lyrics are good enough first. I asked who okayed his. I, who have been creating for most of my life, literally could not understand what was happening. That girls can do the sing thing, but cannot have awakenings or laborings or figurings or renderings. They must just do the listening, and they should count their blessings in spite of their misgivings. They're trying to make a living in the wrong place. The band split up as bands are wont to do, and social media cared for a day. Messages rolled in. Simon, so sorry to hear this. Can't wait to see what you do next, dude. The flood of Simon messages near to drown me. I, the admin of our social media account, thank them from both of us. From both of us. Things were quiet for a while. Shoved myself into boxes, scripts written by others, substandard, high-handed scripts written by others. I searched for my niche, but poetry. Poetry must have women. Poetry is all about women. Alas, too many nights are an open mic night where I am the only woman and every man is called Simon. Simon says he's not emotionally repressed because he writes poetry. He's not abusive, it's just casual misogyny. We take the shit, we count the blows, compose it into faithful prose. We are the women. We are the little women, the little brittle women. We expend the extra energy so you can hear our melody, a quiet little melody in Eric Satie's Gymnopédie, while the crashing of an unrehearsed garage band continues up the street. Down the road, Simon's written a full-length show in the 3 months since he began poetry. It's about every breakup he's ever had and started on the back of a postage stamp. Progressed to beer mats, he's the new Nick Hornby, John Cooper Clarke, the voice of the people. Some of the people, half of the people. Simon says he's being debuted at a major festival after missing the applications deadline because he knows somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody. One of the lads, all lads. I'm so glad for him. I sing this hymn. I sing him this hymn. We take the shit. We count the blows, compose it into faithful prose, and so it goes, and so it goes. A rose by any other name is still a rose. Poet is gender-free. Poet is poetry. Poet. Simon said, poetess? No, but not because that's less. We have never been less. We are not poetess. We finish your endurance test and give you more. It's time for us to take the floor. Make way.
Fabulous.
Oh, brilliant. We've had some comments. Tim King saying, Elizabeth, this is truly extraordinary, transcendent. Matt Thomas says, that was fabulous. Gabby says, great work, Elizabeth. Rachel says, interwoven with poignancy. Yeah, that was just, just loved it.
Thank you so much for inviting me to take part, both of you. And
thank you for coming. We're really glad that you headlined tonight. Wonderful. Brilliant.